Despite what some may say, I believe 2024 has been a great year for movies. We've gotten movies like Terrifier 3, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Maxine, Late Night with the Devil, and the list goes on. But along with 2024, we also got a lot of bad movies. None of them disappointed me as much as this movie did. This movie had everything going for it. This movie could have been up there with Oppenheimer and Barbie for how good it could have been. But this movie, after the first hour, completely ran off and left the audience. This movie became a very hard movie to sit through, to the point where you couldn't wait for it to be over. And then once you got to the ending, nothing. It left you feeling frustrated, like you wasted your time. This movie is so unfortunate that it's going to go down being talked about the way it is. I know that it's been kind of mixed reviewed, but most of them are negative, which is a shame. The subject of today's video is Megalopolis. If you watch the trailer, it promised you this great experience. It promised you that you were going to go on a journey unlike any other, even though M. Night Shyamalan took us on one earlier this year, which was actually pretty good. Even though I did kind of dump all over it because there were glaring things that I just couldn't ignore, the movie was still good. It still kept me interested until the final frame. Megalopolis took off so fast that by the end of the first hour, I was ready for everything to just be said and done. The movie kind of went on, but it had a very good plot. But I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's start at the beginning. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Let Me Be Frank, a podcast about movies. I am your host, Frank. And today we are getting into why Megalopolis was one of my most disappointing movies of 2024. And I know if you listen to the Joker episode, you understand that I didn't like that movie either, but I went into it believing I wasn't going to like it because I knew what they were planning on doing. With Megalopolis, the trailers did such a fantastic job of not giving anything away. Because so often these trailers, they give away so much that by the time we actually get to the movie, we've already seen the best parts. And now we're just looking at all the boring stuff in between that led to each of those parts that drew us to the theater in the first place. Megalopolis dropped the ball in spectacular fashion. And why do I feel like it's so frustrating? Not just because the plot kind of took off and left, but because that first hour, the beginning of the movie, was so good. The characters were great. And when I tell you, if you haven't seen this movie, it is a beautiful film. It's beautiful, from costumes to music to set pieces. They're all fantastic. The actors, everyone who worked on this movie, I'm sure, worked very hard. They worked very hard on this film. You can tell by how the actors are bringing their characters to life. Most of them represent ideas that we have in our own society. We have the traditional mayor that wants to keep everything the way it is, and then we have the bright future that believes in a utopia where everyone can prosper and not just those at the top. And all of us who are not at the top can identify with that. This movie shows the fall of Rome here in America, in New York City, which they happily renamed New Rome City. Not the most creative, but it was easy to get the translation. And if you're one of these people who love seeing a whole bunch of stars in a single movie, you get that here. And they worked very hard. making this movie great. You can tell everyone who designed something for this movie really tried, but it just didn't come together. But, like I said, there are some good things. The ideas and the themes that I just explained to you are the basis of the movie. The concepts are easy enough to grasp. But towards the end half of the movie, I personally felt things started to drag, that we weren't moving the plot enough. I understand we were witnessing, the implosion of Rome and the royal family, so to speak, which is just a bunch of rich people. This film had very good music. The music was fantastic. The design of everything was great. The camera work in this movie is spectacular. The special effects are just so much fun. Stopping time, moving time again, all the things that Caesar was able to do was great. It really was. But then the ideas became too complicated. Everything got too convoluted. The dialogue, which was really good in the beginning, really starts to drain on you. Listening to people give these big, long soliloquies over and over and over again. And it just doesn't feel like we're making any progress towards what megalopolis really is. It's supposed to be a utopia. He never explained a single thing about it in direct terms. They're all vague concepts. And concepts are great, but what is megalopolis? We leave the movie not knowing. I don't care about spoiling this movie because I don't recommend that you waste your time and watch it. This movie sits at a heavy-ass runtime of, 2 hours, 19 minutes? By the time we hit the 1 hour, 1 minute mark, I was ready to be done. Every movie does not have to be a 2-hour marathon film of people talking. But that's what this movie was. What is megalopolis? Everything was, all they showed was people on moving sidewalks and trees and people talking to each other in family groups. This movie was unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. I really wish we could have gotten something better out of this. I understood the ending. It just wasn't... Who cares? We still don't find out what this whole thing is. We'd never find out. I just needed to get that off my chest. This movie was very frustrating. I was extremely disappointed watching it. Did you see this movie? Did you sit through it? Let me know what you thought. Maybe you liked it. Give me your perspective down in the comments. And I will see y'all very soon with another video. Peace.